Hi, welcome to the KWAhnDo Show. I'm Grandmaster Beyersdoerfer, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with a martial arts legend, Cynthia Rothrock. Good afternoon.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. It's great to be here.
You were named as the Queen of Martial Arts in what year?
Oh,
Do you remember?
I think you know how that title came about was through the Martial Art History Museum. And they were opening their grand location, and they said, Cynthia Rothrock, the Queen of Martial Arts. And I want to say, gosh, that has to be probably somewhere in the mid-90s.
Mid-90s. So you've had that title for quite a long time.
Yeah. It could have been the end of the 80s, too. It's been a long time.
And when you started in martial arts, you started in which particular style?
My first style was Tang Soo Do.
Tang Soo Do, and that's our lineage, our link, is that we're both Tang Soo Do practitioners.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting how you meet people from all walks who they started in Tang Soo Do. Mm-hmm. So after you learned Tang Soo Do, what martial arts did you go to next?
From Tang Soo Do, then I went into Pai Lum Kung Fu, which is White Dragon Kung Fu. Then I went into Eagle Claw Kung Fu, Ying Jiao Pai in New York City. And then I was introduced to Wushu, and I went crazy. I loved it. So I ended up going to the West Coast. I was going to train with Roger Tung for a month. And I ended up moving there because I loved training in Wushu. And then I also trained in Taekwondo with Ernie Reyes because I was on the West Coast demonstration team, and I was like, well, I might as well, do the Taekwondo, which was very similar to Tang Soo Do. The difference was just pretty much the forms were different.
Correct. Basic motions are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Was it Ernie Reyes Jr. or Ernie Reyes Sr.?
Ernie Reyes Sr.
Yeah, you trained. He was incredible martial arts
Yes,
too.
yes.
He was. In the martial arts, how has that affected your life?
Well, it is my life. So I think every single day of my life I do something martial art related. I think, once you become a black belt, there's just something that instills in you. You get this spirit and you just love it so much. And it reflects in everything you do, philosophy, your training, your teaching, your passing your information, to other people. It's just, I say, my passion, my life.
And you show it. You're a living example of a legend. You're still in great shape. She did a seminar with us today, and it was a great seminar. You're incredible. You put off great information in a fantastic way. It's pretty amazing. And the martial arts has affected your life. How has it worked with your family life or your kid life, married life? How's that affected?
Well, I think, some of the things that have instilled in me for doing martial arts that I have in my life every day is basically to always do your best. You're going to fail at things, and if you do, just look at it as a learning experience, and to be confident in yourself that you can defend yourself. And my daughter, I've always tried to get her in martial arts, and she started when she was little, and then I was involved in it so much that every time we'd go somewhere, it was like, oh, Cynthia, that she kind of went the other direction, went to dance. But I think, she knows that it's my life, and I instilled in her awareness. She's very aware of situations and self-defense and constantly, talking about it. And that's the number one thing in martial arts is being aware, even before learning your techniques, is that, you avoid dangerous situations. So, but she's good physical condition, likes to work out, likes to exercise. So.
It's amazing how our kids kind of take a different path.
Yeah.
But you never know when they might return to the path. And you're a movie star. You've made how many movies?
About 70.
All martial arts movies?
I think I might have done 3 that were just acting, that not really martial arts, but most of them are martial arts.
I'm curious of the ones that weren't martial arts movies, because
Yeah.
we've all seen your martial arts movies.
Well, one was Santa's Summer Home, which is a Christmas movie. And it's interesting because I'm in it, Daniel Bernhardt is in it, Gary Daniels, Kathy Long. So the director wanted all these tough martial artists, and his tagline was, even the toughest people enjoy Christmas. But we don't throw one kick, one punch, anything in it. It's just a nice little Christmas movie.
Oh, wow.
And I was in Darkness of Man, the latest Van Damme movie, as a cameo. I played a nurse.
Really? No action, just a nurse.
Just a nurse, and I was like, well, don't bill me on it. I just wanted people to say, wait a minute, was that Cynthia Rothrock? You know? And I think I did another movie, I forget what it was called, that was just an acting thing, you know, back in the early days.
Back in the early days.
Yeah.
And your movie career, you've touched a lot of lives, just from young girls seeing you and going, wow, you know, I want to be like her. And that's how you lived up to your legend, is you set the example for these young ladies. Is that correct?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's great. I remember one producer said, I want you in my movie because I want you to be a role model for my daughter. You know, and that was very endearing to me. It was like one of the greatest compliments someone could give, you know, and I think that's what we do as martial art instructors. We inspire people, we motivate people, and, you know, that's part of our job. And I think one of the greatest things that people say is, oh, I saw your movie, so I started taking martial arts. You know, not just women, men too have said it, you know. And the women were like, yeah, we look at you, and if you could do it, we could do it. And I'm so glad that just, you know, that has brought so many people into the world of martial arts, of training. Because I think my first movie came out in 1988.
Your first one was in '88?
Well, my first American one was China O'Brien.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the first American release.
How many had you made prior to that?
7, I think, about 7 in Hong Kong, though, but they were Chinese films, so.
Holy cow.
One was No Retreat, No Surrender. That was also in English, too, but most of them were Hong Kong films.
Wow. What was your favorite martial arts movie?
Well, it's hard to say because, you know, there's a lot that I like, but I'd have to say the early Jackie Chan movies, because that's the first introduction that I had to martial arts cinema. I was a big fan of Jackie Chan growing up. I just love the way that he was able to take any kind of apparatus in a building and make it work as a weapon. So first movie I ever saw was Snake in the Eagle's Shadow, which is an old Jackie Chan movie. If you haven't seen it, you should Google it. And I'd have to say, you know, the first one that makes our greatest impact on our lives is what we remember the most. So that's my first one.
And on the same lines as that, who is your favorite martial arts actor?
That's hard to say. Obviously, you know, I love working with Don Wilson and Richard Norton and Keith Cook because we've worked on so many films together that, you know, we've became really, really good friends. But to say, let's say out of people that I've never worked with, I'd have to say I really like Donnie Yen. I like his movements. I like his action. Yeah, so I know if he's in a movie that the action's going to be quite good.
Cynthia, there are several challenges in being a female doing movies, especially an action movie. How was it doing your action shots wearing a dress or high heels?
Well, I love doing that because I like doing things out of the norm, you know. When I was in Hong Kong, yeah, there's, I think it was, what movie was it? Lady Reporter. Yeah, that was pretty hard, you know. It was my first experience doing movies, and they had these stunts that we wanted me to do that were like death-defying. I could have easily killed myself on any one of them, but I didn't know any better, and I just like, oh, I got to do whatever they say, and I got to try hard for whatever they did. But I think one of the toughest things is I had to jump off of a 2-story building with a fake baby in my hand with heels on and an explosion going on in the background. So I'm standing down low, and Yun Kuei was the director, and he said, can you jump off that building? And I looked up and I go, oh, yeah, I can. And now this isn't where in Hong Kong they didn't have like big safety pads and stuff like that. They had mattresses with cardboard boxes on. So I get up there. Now it's a different perspective. Looking up doesn't look bad, but now you're standing on top looking down. My heart was pounding. So Yun Kuei goes to me, when I say action, you have to jump because the fire is going to come out at you, and if you don't jump, you're going to get engulfed in these flames, right? So here I am, I'm so nervous, and he goes, action, and I jumped, and I have this like fake baby in my hand, and I'm not a stunt person. I don't jump off of 2-story buildings with fire coming behind me. So I landed on the boxes, and then I fell back on my butt, and my knee came up and hit me in the nose. I almost knocked myself out, right? And when I was jumping, I felt the fire, you know, because it went right away. And then Yunquai said, well, we got to do it again. There was something wrong with the film. And now I'm like so nervous because I realize, you know, all this stunt entails. So then I had to do it again. I went home that night and I'm thinking, oh, someone's going to come in and steal the film. It's going to burn. Something's going to happen. I'm going to have to do that stunt again. But then every time I did a movie, they upped the stunt. More scary, more dangerous, you know. And I mean, I jumped off of really high balconies to just a metal stand that had a little pad on. So I have like about maybe 12 feet from here to here, and there's no safety. So if I would have missed it, I would have fell down. Like I would have killed myself, right? So now I'm so nervous, I have to really jump that. I jumped so far, I almost went off of the balcony thing that they had, and they caught me, right? So I mean, I'm just telling you, the stunts are really, you know, you really do your own stunts, and it's like insane in Hong Kong, you know. I mean, I could write a book on how many times I've almost been killed in Hong Kong.
Oh, wow, wow. Cynthia, how do you feel the martial arts is progressing in the world?
Well, you know, from when I started, it was like kind of like it was a fallacy, like women couldn't do martial arts, that they weren't big enough, they weren't strong enough, you know, and that was kind of the fallacy. And I tried to break down those barriers, you know, as the first woman on the cover of Karate Illustrated magazine, because Renardo Barden was the editor, and the owner said, no, women and minorities don't sell, and he fought for me to be on the cover. So I feel like I've been a trailblazer for women, and as time goes by, you know, there's so many women now in martial arts. Sometimes when you go to the schools, you look, there's more women than guys, you know, because they realize how important it is, you know, and I'm such an advocate that everyone should learn martial arts, children, men, women, and it's just good to see that so many more women each year get involved in the sport, because I think they realize how important it is to know how to defend yourself.
Wow, wow. When you're now currently, you just closed filming a movie, Black Creek, all right, and where you play a gunslinger.
Yes, yep.
Right? So, and you had a lot of your friends that you'd done movies with in the movie.
Yep, yep. You know, after doing 70 films, I finally said, okay, time to do my own film. And the first thing is, well, how do you know, you got to write the story. So my partner said, well, what do you want to do? I said, a Western. They're like, a Western? And they're like, are you sure? I said, yeah, I want to do a Western, but I want everybody to fight in it. I don't want it to be your typical gunplay, your saloon, you know, throw the punch over the table, pool cue thing. You know, I said, I want really martial art fighting. I wanted, you know, some of my friends in it that I have done movies with. And I think it was different. It was something different, because you don't see that. It's something unique. You know, first a woman lead in a Western that can really fight, where it has the biggest cast of action stars and they all fight. And I kind of modeled it. I liked Yellowstone. I really liked the series Yellowstone. I liked the dark, the grittiness of it. And I kind of like, that was kind of my template for Black Creek, is to make it very strong, very powerful. The women in it are tough, you know, the characters that are bad are really bad, you know, the ones that are good are really good. And I'm really proud of it. Hopefully it should get a release date like somewhere in March or April of 25.
And it'll be released where?
Right now, we just did our premiere screening, our red carpet, and now we're in the process of seeing which distribution company we want. So it depends. So how it works is you do it, you have to get it like a mediator, a distribution company. Then they take it to the big networks like Netflix, Amazon, you know, all the other ones, and then they have to sell it. You can't take it specifically yourself. You have to have an agent to do it. So we're in the process right now of seeing which it meets our best, you know, we would like to partner with to
But
it.
it will be released in the
It
spring.
will be released, definitely. Well, definitely like sometime next year. But the one company that we're talking to that we kind of like, it wants to target it for March or April.
That'd be a good time for movies to come out.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot to do. So the stars you had in your movie, Don the Dragon Wilson,
Right.
Benny
Yeah.
the Jet,
Yeah.
your critters. Who else did you have?
I had Keith Vitale, Richard Norton, Keith Cook, and Grandmaster Stephen Hayes makes a cameo appearance in it. And then I wanted it, like my main cast were going to be action stars, right? And then I wanted it also like some masters would do a cameo. So someone would go, well, wait a minute, wasn't that Grandmaster Hayes? Or, oh, wasn't that Jody Nolan? Or, like kind of like that there. We had a small budget, so I would have liked to have so many more people in, but, I didn't want to say, hey, do you want to do me a favor and come along? So if someone said, hey, I'd really like to be in it, I'd be like, come on. And then Marcus Taylor was in it as well.
Wow.
He was in and Out of Compton, so he's in it. So yeah, it's funny because when you look back at it, and I look at the film, I perfectly cast everybody. Everybody fit the role like exactly how I wanted it.
And that very rarely happens for a producer,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah, and I had Forbes Riley in it, who is like she's #1 motivator, fitness expert. So yeah, it's really nice cast.
So do you plan a sequel to it?
Yeah, we already have the sequel.
Oh, should we say
written.
that?
Yeah, we can.
We can say that?
Yeah,
We're
we
allowed
can
to
say
say
that.
that?
Yeah, Black Creek 2. Right now, we have the first draft. So Black Creek is actually very special because it was fundraised through Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So it's a fan-based film. And I kind of feel like a lot of the people that had the big incentive did a fight scene with one of us, or they did a speaking line, or they were an extra in the film. And I'm just so happy for these people because they're like, I would never had that opportunity to be in it, And we worked with them so much, like on the choreography, that they look phenomenal. So I feel like this is like, we call it Black Creek family, that everybody that was involved in the whole program of Kickstarter, Indiegogo, it's their film too. So it's pretty special because I don't think that's ever been done before. And we became the second highest funded action picture in the history of Kickstarter.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So good luck with your sequel. I mean, you're just an amazing martial artist.
Oh, thank you.
Point blank.
Well,
You
I'm
really
hoping that on the sequel, we're not going to do a fundraiser. I'm hoping that someone comes in and says, wow, this movie is amazing. You did it we shot it in 2 weeks. It's a 2-hour film, and it's amazing. Nobody could believe it. Nobody can believe that what we got on film in 2 weeks. It's definitely a blessing, for sure. And so I'm hoping that someone will come in and say, wow, well, we'll triple that budget and give you 20 days to shoot, then I could come up with even more.
Wow. Well, Cynthia, thank you for coming in and visiting us, teaching us today. It was a great experience. A lot of my people loved it. They've got a lot of comments as they were walking out the door. They said how knowledgeable you were and how you related to them. So
Yeah.
I want to say thank you very much for coming with us.
Well, thank you. The students were awesome. Everybody was eager to learn. They did so well. And I actually taught a lot in that 4 hours, So, and that's because it shows, how good your students are, how they can pick up things really fast, and their technique was really good. So I really enjoyed it. I love teaching. It's a big part of my life because, before I did films, I had martial arts schools. I had them in Pennsylvania, and then I had them in California. So it's a love of mine, and I don't get to come to a school every day. And then like how you have your school family, you have your martial art community in your own school. I get to do that a little bit on seminars.
Yeah, exactly. And today you had a guest star, Stephen Hayes, who did a cameo
Yeah.
in the movie, happened to be here today.
Yeah,
So it's
and
kinda-
actually I love it because there were so many black belts, and I love that that I could pass on some knowledge even to the masters. To you took the class too, and to it's
and I
like
felt it.
Grandmaster Stephen Hayes. I thought he was just going to come and hang. Usually that's what people do, but they don't get in. They leave for the students. But this was so much fun, to see so many black belts out there, giving it their all.
Well, I still feel my legs from your warm-up. So
Yeah.
great, great. But thank you again. And all I want to say is 감사합니다.
Thank you.
Have you ever been injured in the movie?
Yep.
How bad?
Well, the worst, well, I've been injured a lot in Hong Kong, but just more so getting hit in the nose with a sword, getting choked by a chain for real, getting hit in the jaw where my internal ear split open and blood was coming out of my ear. You know, kind of like when you see Jackie Chan like get hurt. That's,
A
yeah,
lot
that's
different the way they do
typical
stunts in
Hong Kong. But the only bone I ever broke was in China O'Brien. I broke my finger.
Oh, wow. How did you hurt your knee, your ACL?
That was after I did Yes, Madam. I came back and I was training in my school. I still had a school at the time. And I was doing a jump spinning hook kick. And when I landed, I went like that. And that's what
Okay.
did it.